The views and opinions expressed on this station do not reflect the owners, management, staff, clients, or partners. Medical House presents Bermuda's most viewed and listened to talk show. The Daily Hour starts now.
It's Monday, the 8th day of November in 2020. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Carla Zul, and welcome back to our sister, Jackie Lem.
I don't get the real claps. There's my button.
Oh, okay? So my apologies, Jackie. Let me do that for you. Crowd's going crazy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to Jackie, and thank you to all of you for making us part of your daily routine. If you haven't already, it's a new week, but the same old thing applies. Share the link, start a watch party, just get the conversation out there to your network. Again, it's a new week. It's another good show. We have Bermudian Equestrian and singer Ki-Juan Minor stopping by, and the daily play is going to be a who said it. So my colleagues are guessing a famous quote.
We got this, Jack. We got this.
I'm not even going to say anything. I think they'll get this. It's another good one. I notice I didn't say easy. It's another good one. So look out for my colleagues as they prepare studying throughout the next 50 minutes as to what the famous quote's going to be today. Hint. I never give a hint, especially this early. It's a famous comedian. So you all can either pay attention to the show right now or go study. But let's get this show on the road. A lot to discuss. First off, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because I never do know what Carla has in her news, but sincere condolences from everyone at this program to the family of the young man who lost his life yesterday in Bermuda on Bermuda's roads. And also, one of everyone's childhood TV stars, Mr. Alex Trebek. We lost Alex Trebek, and I don't know about you all, but I was a game show person, so I was not good at Jeopardy, but I watched it. The good thing about watching Jeopardy is that no one hears me guessing the wrong answers, right, or saying them. But he was a staple in many people's childhood and television because at the end of the day, at least when we were young, I'm not sure if it's still this way with you guys and your children, Carla, but when we were young, we watched whatever our parents and grandparents had on. Whereas now, most children want to watch football. They watch football and you watch it with them, correct?
No.
Oh, no?
They have their own devices. They control whatever they want to watch as long as it's appropriate.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I got that wrong, Jackie. But yeah, Alex Trebek, just a staple in TV, and he will be missed. I guess the thing a lot of people are saying is, please don't replace him. Like, who's going to replace him? And I'm like, but the show, I'm sure he would want it to go on. I would hate to be the person replacing him, though, because it's always like you'd have to live up to Alex Trebek. Moving along, obviously there was an election almost a week ago, but unfortunately we only got the results 2 days ago in the U.S., right? Well, let me reframe because I don't want to get jumped or beat up by any Trumpers. There were projections given by the media as it pertains to results. Apparently, there's no official. I don't know how it works. I'm not into the whole political thing in the U.S., right? But that said, I asked a question this week, and I got to ask you guys as well. In regards to, we obviously had an election in Bermuda, and then we had the election in the U.S. And I asked this question: did you lose any friends over politics? And some of the responses were interesting, but did you like Jackie, did you have people either in Bermuda or the US where they're like, oh, I'm gung-ho this way or that way, and like it created tension between you?
Remember when Trump got elected all those years ago?
Mm-hmm.
That's when I lost those friends.
Oh,
So
really?
they've been dealt with. But I didn't really. It wasn't that many that wanted him in.
Of your
Most
friends?
of my right.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really lose too many.
Mm.
Just a few.
Carla looks like
A
she
relative.
25.
No, I told you the other day. My 14-year-old son, I've given him up for adoption because he is a Trump supporter and he can't figure out why. So when he heard that Biden won, he was like, But I was just happy that at least he tunes into politics at 14 because I wasn't interested. But I found me unfollowing people on Twitter this weekend. People who were like, oh, talking about the vote's wrong, it's fraudulent and blah. I'm just like, unfollow. Just couldn't do it.
See, I actually feel like I need more Republican friends. I need more Trump friends. Like I actually feel like I want more of them because for me, it's not like an orgasm to me, folks. Don't get me wrong. But I love to have conversations with people who I don't agree with, whether it gets heated or not. And I love to figure out why people think the way they do. You know, when I see someone supporting Trump, my immediate question, and that's why I told you all I tuned into Fox News last week. And, you know, I said, let me switch from CNN and MSNBC to Fox News to get an understanding of, you know, why people support him. And, you know, I didn't see any much difference between what MSNBC and CNN do, what Fox said. And I'll give you some of the reasons. One of the reasons they say Trump was a better choice is he is one of the first presidents in recent times that did not start a war. Well, that's not a bad thing. The second thing is if it pre-pandemic, the economy was doing pretty well. Now, if you remember Bloomberg, a former Mayor Bloomberg, I believe it was him that said that Trump will win because the economy is doing well. And then the pandemic happened. So there are people that really believed that the economy was doing well because of President Trump, right? And again, I don't believe, you know, I don't give presidents too much praise or politicians, period. But then policy and legislation does play a role into how businesses can operate in some regard. There are people who feel like President Trump put money in their pockets, right? And I say all that because one of the things, especially in the Black community, I understand why people may dislike President Trump. I totally get that. But what we have to, you know, kind of think about in the Black community, especially, is thinking that anyone who voted for Donald Trump supports racism or is racist. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that. I mean, you think about it, there are Black people who did not vote for Joe Biden. And I follow a lot of them, whether it's what's this called? The Black channel, the ADOS and FBA people, the financial guy, Boyce Watkins. Like these people actually make legit cases as to why they could not and would not vote for Joe Biden. And it was a joke I shared. I think you guys saw it. And it was a joke on social media saying, hooray, basically, we voted for normal racism. Right. And what it is, and I said this prior to the election, a lot of people prefer less overt racism. Maybe President Trump was a bit too much for them. Right. So all that to say, I don't think I would lose any friends. I mean, yeah, there are people that would say things to me or so on, like, oh, how could you? Well, you all forget about me. I am a stateless voter. How many times do I have to tell you? I can't vote, even if I wanted to.
And he's trying to get me right there with him, Jackie.
I mean, it's no fun being in a cell all by myself, right? But let me just close this out by saying this, here, folks. A guy this guy worked in radio up in Boston, put it over the weekend, put it on Facebook. He said, don't lose friends and family and get punched in your mouth for two old white guys that don't know you exist and pretty much will never act like you exist. That's the bottom line. I just, it was a comedian that put up a video yesterday, and he basically the video. No, sorry, he put it up Saturday when he announced his name. Country Wayne. I don't know if you guys follow Country Wayne. He's hilarious. But Country Wayne put up this video. Yeah, man, Biden won, right? And then he said, "All right, Biden won. Let me check my bank. No bank account look the same. Nothing changed in my bank account." And he goes, "All right, check my credit score. Wow, credit score going down." The point, it was all comedy, but the point he was trying to make is do not act like this is the savior. Do not act like this is the, I don't want to use violent terms, silver bullet, but it's still work to be done. And the one thing I want people to think about as it relates to this show and politics overall, there will be nothing that changes our circumstances more than what we can do for ourselves. Nothing. And so we must always remember that it's us who will be in control of our destiny. Obviously, politicians are in charge of passing policy and legislation that can impact how we do that, but it's us. And so, in 1 year time, yes, I'm going to be coming to you all. I'm going to be questioning, how has your life improved due to the election or the ousting? And that brings me to the next question for you guys. Are you more happy about Donald Trump losing or Joe Biden winning?
Trump losing. But I do have to say, I was really surprised at how close it was, because you know how we always talk about closet supporters and stuff, or people who may not be vocal. That was a tight race. So people can say what they like about Trump. He has a fair share of people who have his back. But I was happy that he lost.
Wow. Because mine's a little bit of both, right? I want to, as a Black woman, I do want to see history being made. So with his vice president, I was just like, I just want to see her in the White House, obviously. But with him being out, a lot of things changed with traveling. And like with me representing Bermuda, or even me when I was in Tennis Academy, I dealt with some racism in those smaller little countries, where states, where I was going to play some of the tournaments, like the USTA tournaments, and not being able to go certain places back then because of the people that were in those little counties. I'm hoping it goes back to being a little bit safer to travel as a Black person.
But I have to,
I don't know, because he was almost promoting that violence. So it just made me feel uncomfortable. So that's just me. That's
the only thing, though, Jack, I have to say, to be fair, is that that's nothing new. I went to University of Georgia, which is in Athens, and right up the road was Gainesville, which was like where the origins of KKK, and that was in 1995. So and that risk was still there. So I just
feel like it got worse with him. Maybe, like I said, obviously media controls a lot, so maybe we were just being shown a lot more. But with his words, and then with the replies on social media, like a lot of people felt very brave and untouchable when he was in power. So it just made you feel even more uneasy. Whereas now with Biden in, it's going to be a little bit more covered.
See, I like my racism direct and up front. I prefer.
It's still direct and up front. It's just less aggressive. I don't know. I grew up in hospitality, so a lot of those people that support Trump or are nasty like that were coming to Elbow, were coming to play tennis, were coming to get lessons. So you got it, where they were just like, I want to, where's the head pro? And I'm like, the Black guy's actually head pro, not the white assistant, but they wanted him, and they wanted them to serve him. So like, I just, I don't know, whatever. It's neither here nor there.
I agree if they have valid reasoning to be Republican. I have many Republican friends from primary school. I lost a lot of friends, however, that showed to be racist. Morning, guys.
Renee.
He was busy with the domestic war he started between the Dems and the Republicans. He tried to start an internal war and continues with Biden and his son being involved with Russia. He started a whole lot of mess. Good riddance.
I think the son was Ukraine. I could be wrong, but good point. Charles says, I don't remove people who think differently than I do. I really want to hear and understand what the other side think, and hopefully they want to hear and understand what I think. We will never reduce the divide if we don't listen to each other, in my opinion. Stateless voter. Oh, yes, fellow stateless voter. I agree 100% with Charles. Kathy, Jackie.
Yes, lost a friend who I've always battered politics with and have always previously respected each other's opinions. Another said, I can talk to you until after the election here in BDA.
Oh, can't talk to you. Okay, cool.
See, can I just real quick on Charles's point? I totally agree, but I think it's a difference when you have people who just seem so ignorant that they're not open to listening to other people. Those are the people I unfollow because I like a good discussion, those who know me. But if you're
Yeah.
just so dead set in having one set mindset, and that's of any subject, I just can't because you cannot have an open conversation with a narrow minded person.
Perspective. Robert Durham says yes, he does and did better this time than he did in 2016, but so long, bye bye. And I think that's reflecting Carla's comment about can't believe he got so many votes. Oh, I can. I can. Mia says being the first black anything is in this racist system is not worth celebrating unless you're the one to eradicate the system itself. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in celebrating the first black person anything. We see a lot of black faces in Bermuda that are in positions, and to many they do the work against black people. So I'm not interested in the first black face or first black woman or first black man. I'm interested in that the work that they do. So that remains to be seen because if we go based on the past, it probably doesn't look too good. But we'll talk about that another time. Renee, Charlene Simmons, before we get to the news, Carlos got some stuff for us, I'm sure. I'm happy about both Trump losing and Biden win. He did, however, have me on the edge of my seat because it was so close. I knew at some point the mail-in votes would come through. I just can't see how, and this is me, I can't see how people could be happy about Biden win. I get the whole Trump thing, but I just, if I guess if you're giving him a clean slate, so be it. But again, that's where we humans and we differ and we see things differently. Deshaun Simmons haven't lost friends, but did remove slash unfollow a lot of QAnon people that were in my list locally. Interesting. All right, Carly, you ready for the news?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Bermuda has recorded its sixth road fatality. At around 9:24 a.m. yesterday, police received a report of a serious two-vehicle traffic collision involving a car and a bike on Somerset Road in Sandys in the area of Morgan Hill. Officers and other first responders attended the scene where they found an 18-year-old male motorcycle rider who had suffered a serious head injury and was unresponsive. He was transported via ambulance to King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, where he was subsequently pronounced dead by a doctor. Both vehicles were extensively damaged. However, the female driver of the car was not injured in the collision. The family hour, the Daily Hour extends its deepest condolences to the family and friends of the deceased. The job market and gang violence were at the top of the agenda when members of Youth Parliament got the chance to recently quiz the Premier. Mackenzie Cole Tuckett, 17, and Nizay Douglas, 15, questioned Premier Burt on his plans to tackle some of the problems that worried young Bermudians at a session in St. Peter's Church in St. George's. Mackenzie Cole from Work Academy asked if businesses would be given tax incentives to hire young Bermudians who had just finished university. Mr. Burt confirmed that businesses would be considered for tax breaks and added that similar tax incentives were already in place. Cedar Bridge student Nizay asked Mr. Burt what would he do to ensure the safety and security of other youth within schools from the danger of gang activity. Mr. Burt said the Gang Resistance Education and Training Program had been launched on Monday to help schools identify at risk youngsters at all school levels and attempt to keep them out of gang activity. He told Nizay, our gang violence teams is in all the schools just about every day. They're in primary, schools, they're in middle schools, and they visit the high schools. Turning to international news, Trump supporters have been challenged over why they are turning up at demonstrations heavily armed as the fallout from Joe Biden's election victory continues. Sky News journalist Alex Crawford, more regularly seen reporting from conflict zones, confronted a man wielding a rifle on the streets of Atlanta, Georgia. In a clip posted to her Twitter page, Ms. Crawford asked the man, who is wearing a bulletproof vest, "Can you tell me why you have come dressed like this?" He replies, "For security." She then says, "But you've come heavily armed as if you're going to war." The man then alleges that Biden supporters had also come out onto the streets armed before getting into an elevator with several other Trump supporters who were also wielding weapons. In many parts of the world, freedom is something that is taken for granted. The freedom to choose any religion we want or no religion at all. The freedom to be in a relationship with the person we love. The freedom to travel. Unfortunately, there are many, many places in the world where these freedoms are not available to most people, excuse me, who are forced to live empty, unfulfilling lives so the rulers of their countries don't have them thrown into jail or worse. Like all good things, liberty should be celebrated, and that's what World Freedom Day is all about. How can you celebrate? Do some research for yourself to see how people in different parts of the world are fighting to enable freedom for all. Turning to weather with a mix of sun and cloud, the high today in Bermuda is expected to reach 77. It's an expected high of 82 in Miami and 60 in Bristol, UK. It's Reggae Mondays all day on the 4100 radio. Don't miss Juggling Jason from 12 to 3 p.m. Bermuda time. That's your Daily Hour news break.
You said it's World Freedom Day?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know about this. Man, I would have made some noise. And, I was on the phone with my freedom partner, Mr. Marshall, about midnight last night. That's why I've got bags under my eyes. Anyway, on another note, thanks for that, World Freedom Day. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be back with, as someone said in the comments, one of Bermuda's national treasures. They said treasures. Ki-Juan miners. So stick with us.
Good day, Medical House Doris speaking. Can I help you?
Medical House is Bermuda's leading one-stop shop for healthcare.
Medical House is a great resource for Leroy. The service is excellent.
Medical House is best known for its uniforms and footwear. It has hundreds of styles of scrubs and nurses' uniforms for health professionals. Bermuda's top doctors, dentists, care homes, and the hospital choose Medical House for a wide range of products. These same professional quality products are available to you for home health care.
The biggest reason to come see us is that we specialize in these areas and the education and knowledge that we provide.
Medical House is on Millreach Lane in Pembroke, where there's private parking right outside the door. Call or visit Medical House today.
Every resident of Bermuda deserves to spend their final days with dignity. They also deserve access to privacy for themselves and their loved ones. Although Agape House has lovingly wrapped its arms around thousands of patients and their families, it can no longer meet the needs of our community. There is an urgent need for a new facility, and we need your help to make that happen. Donate today by going to agiftforagape.com or calling 232-0859. Help give Agape House a new home. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back to the big show. Carl Azul, Jackie Lambert, myself, Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour. We are experiencing technical difficulties currently on Channel 82. So anyone that knows someone who usually watches there, they can tune in online, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Thanks again to Medical House and Lindo's for making sure that we're able to do this for you on a daily basis, at least during the week, because weekends are hard to wake up. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day, Ki-Juan Miners, an equestrian, a singer. Well, let me just say entertainer, pure entertainer. Ki-Juan Miners, let's bring him in. Hello, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, welcome to the big show. We understand that it is early where you are, like but we appreciate you taking the time to come on and have this conversation.
No problem.
A bit late because Carla did about 15 minutes of news, which is always good. Had nothing to do with me talking about anything. Nothing to do with me, but apologies for our time. But look, let's get straight to it. growing up in Bermuda, at least during our era, young black boys especially, it was cricket, it was football, right? How did you get into horses to the point where you became an equestrian?
I pretty much figured out very early that I didn't like to be a team player. I wanted to be a winner. So, I grew up playing football, a little bit of cricket, for St. George's, of course. And, I would get really upset if we didn't win for whatever reason. So I just decided to go for sport that, mainly had myself involved. I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandfather has horses in Bermuda, which a lot of people know, bronchi miners. So I was that kid that was always down the barn, bringing friends around and kind of taking my horse wherever I could.
Interesting. Sorry, Jackie.
It's okay. I'm just curious. How are you able to make a career out of something that you love?
So I had been doing horses basically my entire life. I moved out here around 2005, and I didn't really know that I could make this a career until I came to Wellington, Florida as just a guest. One of my friends, Nick DaCosta, he was working for someone here, and he said, "Hey, you got to come check this out." I had no idea it could be something that could make you money, that, I could go on and do better things. So as soon as I got the opportunity, I kind of packed up and left.
Nice.
And
curious. Go ahead.
The reason I said interesting, right? And this is no shit. Kai and I are pretty much the same height, but I was always so afraid of horses. And you know what I'm saying? That's why I said interesting. Like, it's always the smallest people, like, and that are involved with horses. And I'm like, the fear in horses for me, like, you never had any fear of horses?
Nah, not at all. I was running around horses' legs at a young age. My parents would be like, "Get that boy from that horse before he gets hurt." So now it was never an issue. I never had any fear when it comes to riding horses or around animals at all.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm just impressed because I never knew anyone, like, horses always seemed as unattainable to young black kids. So I'm just impressed that you were with horses at a young age. I didn't know any black person that had a horse.
Yeah. And being here in Wellington, it's like the biggest area to have horses in North America. You're out here riding with the best of the best. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer to be out here and live here and kind of just, expand my career.
Gotcha.
Your siblings are athletes like mine. How's the rivalry in your household? Not even just your household, just your family.
Oh, that's, Delbert's children, let me tell you. We all want to be number one all the time, but no, we support each other 100%. Dage is phenomenal with what he does as a track and field star. My sister Teese, she does really well with field hockey and stuff like that. So, we're competitive, but again, we have each other's back.
So you've obviously been jumping competitively. What has been the highlight of your career so far? And do you have a vision to go to the Olympics?
So being totally realistic, the biggest highlight would have been when I went to the Central American and Caribbean Games in 2018. I do have aspirations to go to the Olympics, but I have to be completely honest. It's a sport that takes a lot of money. It's not something that a lot of people can do. You have to have good sponsorship, a good team, and again, the horsepower to take you to the top. It's not necessarily just about being the best athlete. You have to have, I'm going to be frank, hundreds of thousands of dollars to kind of keep you in that position at all times.
So are you at the pinnacle of your career as such?
No, I wouldn't say that. One of the beauty of my sport is, God willing, if I stay healthy, I can continue riding until I'm not able to get up on a horse, basically. So as you get older and you kind of develop these relationships with these animals, you get to know them better, you get to develop them better. And, I feel like I can just get better and better, really, as the years go on.
Now, you're also, for those who don't know, you're also a singer.
Yes.
Mel and I were having a debate because my favorite song right now is the one you have with, what's her name?
Erica Officer.
Officer.
Okay.
It's too short though. I was all into it at the end. I like that. You won't need to listen to that song. But question, how are you able to balance between the equestrian and the singing?
It's pretty easy. I have the horses during the day. I have the music at night. So it's pretty much, something that's always on my mind. I like to stay busy. I like to stay active. So when I'm not riding, or even when I am riding, I have something in my head. I just jot it down or whatever on my phone, take notes. And then when I come home, I just put it to paper and hit up the studio.
So you write all of your songs?
I do either write them fully, or I have someone else that co-writes the songs with me, yes. But I try to write most of my own songs.
Now, being from Bermuda, such a small country, and then some of us have had dreams, or young people have dreams, and people think you can't do it because you're in Little Bermuda. What do you say to someone who wants to grow beyond Bermuda?
I think that's easy. I feel like if anybody wants to do anything, just do it. You have to just get up and do it. I don't regret, but I wish that my parents would have pushed me away from the island. I think it's because they didn't know, just like I didn't know. We call it greenness, that the opportunities were basically right around the corner. But I feel like if I was pushed away from the island a little bit sooner, maybe I could have been a little further in my career, in horses and in my singing career. But I'm just grateful that I did get a chance to, move away when I did. And for anyone else that wants to do it, like, reach out, take the time to, do your homework and see what's available, because there's so many options for any discipline, any sport, any career choice that you want. Yeah, there's going to be some challenges, but don't ever stop trying to chase your dreams.
So on the back of that, kind of curious, without getting right into your personal, but you're not American, right?
Correct.
So what about for someone who is like you, Bermudian, no connection to, how does that work as such? Like, just look for opportunities that would allow them to stay?
Again, do your research. Like, for me, I had to, when I came out here, I talked to a lot of different people in the industry, the equestrian industry, and they said, your first step would probably be to get a visa. And I'm not sure if a lot of people know, but there are tons of different types of visas. So I had to get a P1 work visa. So I came out here, I talked to the right people. I had made my own connections by, again, doing my research. And then I put the steps together. I applied. Gratefully, it was approved. And then from that step, I went to the next step, to the next visa. And then after that, my wife and I, we've been out here and we applied for a green card and we got it.
Nice.
Well, and I think that goes to, I'm glad Carla asked that, because and it's important as we have this conversation, when you speak about opportunities outside Bermuda, is it's not just about applying and expecting to get something. I think we had a recent case where a Bermudian had applied for residency in the US and was denied.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that special talent, or what they consider special talent, then chances are you may not get it in that arena. So I just think there needs to be honesty behind all of that, that, anybody can do certain things. Like, if I'm a basketball player, and I can dunk. Why are you laughing? If I was a basketball player.
Dunk what?
Putting a banana in water is not dunking. Exactly.
Dunkin' Donuts, what you doing, bro?
When I talk about burp ponging it.
I got it.
Still my boy, though.
and I'm getting roasted. Like, who are my friends this week? You got what I'm saying. There are so many others here, right? So why am we going to give you a special visa? So I think people need to be honest, because there are a lot of Bermudians right now, Ki-Juan, who have talents, whether it's photography, art, and they want to get out and just don't see the opportunities. But I think I want to go back to a few things you said. One thing was your friend Nick DaCosta.
Yes.
Connections, folks. If you have friends that can help you with opportunities, that is something that we definitely need to help one another with.
Absolutely.
Especially in our community. If you, like, right now, anyone watching this show, I want to touch on your singing for a bit, because when we think about singing, and I like what young people like Kaylin Castle are doing as well, where she's added skits and entertainment to what she does. And what I want to emphasize with you and your singing is, yes, you release your own music, but one of the things you've made a career out of, correct me if I'm wrong, is singing at weddings.
Yes.
And so if you have the talent to sing, everyone's not going to be Beyonce. Everyone's not going to be Mariah Carey or Whitney, right? Not everyone's going to be, who's a good male singer, Brian McKnight or Ki-Juan Minor. But there are opportunities to find a pocket in there, like Ki-Juan has done, where he sings at weddings. And not to get in your pocket, aka Carla, but I'm sure it pays pretty well, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So my point is the opportunity. I think everything you've said so far. I'm sorry, Carla. Everything you've said so far is just spoken to finding opportunities to make a living in what you love to do.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of people say to me all the time, like, why don't you, do a little bit more on, say, TikTok, or, a little bit of stuff that's more current, like that the younger kids are doing. And I basically say, I'm 38, I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to do backflips on the stage. You give me a microphone, I'm going to sing, I'm going to find something that I like to do. And it's worked out for me quite well. I'm looking at, when it comes to my music career, I want my songs to be in TV. I want my songs to be in movies. I want my songs to be around, longer than I'm alive, and just be part of my legacy, not just the next big hit. Granted, if it presents itself, sure, I'll take it. But those are the moves that I'm trying to make with my music career.
If my memory is correct, I think that you were the one who prepared a song and they did it virtually for someone's funeral and it got really good response. Was that you?
Yes, so that was just recently. We talked about my friend Nick DaCosta. His father recently passed away. Yes.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I was just like lauding that because, again, besides using your talent, but taking advantage of technology.
Yeah.
And that's right, because I'm friends with his wife, and I did see it where he was lauding you. So I thought that was awesome as well, because who would have even thought of that?
Yeah, and the connection was so real because Michael DaCosta, he basically was a huge foundation of my equestrian career. So when I started riding horses, that was one of the first stables in Bermuda, Inwood stables, that kind of held me down and kind of put me on the right path. And there were a lot of people involved in.
I think we had technical difficulties
By being, a part of that, and then taking part of his funeral, just kind of using both my talents and stuff like that. It was, it's a very special moment.
Can I ask again another question, Ki-Juan? I'm so intrigued by you. I'm so sorry to be harassing you today.
No, you're good.
But what do you say to because I said earlier about I said a few there. Equestrian isn't really a Black sport, but it doesn't mean that young Black youth can't get into it in Bermuda.
Right.
How, for those who may not have the means to be exposed to stables and etc., how can they become exposed?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question, because a lot of people ask me this question. They say they don't see a lot of Black people in the equestrian community, and how do we make it more available to Black people? This is a sport that is very, very expensive. It's an elite sport. It's not a matter of race. It's not a matter of anything else. It's a matter of how people want to spend their money. Sometimes I wake up and I feel like, how did I even get involved in this? Because it's, getting to the end of my pocket. But I think that if anyone that is interested in Bermuda or anywhere else that wants to get into, horseback riding or being equestrian and things like that, you really have to take, whatever chances you can get as far as reaching out to, go online and see what's available in Bermuda. I know there are a few riding schools still available. Send your kids overseas to programs just to kind of see if it's something that they want to do. But it's definitely available to any and everybody. It's just expensive. I have to be honest about that.
And we had someone in the comments actually in regards to Troy Butterfield. Has Bermuda been good to you when it comes to funding being a Black equestrian? And I actually wrote that down because you mentioned funding as it relates to making it to the Olympics per se. Has Bermuda been kind to you as it relates to funding? And again, not for you to put you in the spot to burn bridges or call people out, but it's important to know what we can do, like everyone that's watching this show or listening online, like what can we do to ensure that you're able to have the opportunity to achieve your dreams?
So Bermuda has eventually stepped up and been very good to me as far as getting funds for me to do what I needed to do. At the beginning, I feel like it was a situation where, again, the greenness, they didn't have anyone from Bermuda that was in the US that could understand what it costs to take care and maintain and to compete at this level. So at the beginning, there was a bit of a struggle, but I think they are trying to work within the organizations that help equestrians to go on and help us better when it comes to performing and competing internationally. So at first, it was a bit of a struggle because they thought it was compared to Bermuda prices and what happens in Bermuda versus, again, I'm at a place right now where I'm right around the corner from riding and competing with the top athletes, equestrians in the world, and they got billions of dollars. So it takes a lot. And for people that don't understand, again, it all it takes is you to hop on your computer and just see what it costs to keep a horse and to maintain it.
Indeed. Obviously, the only other athlete we have on the show is our tennis player over there, Jackie, right? And,
That's rude. I'm retired.
oh, so
I still compete sometimes.
I mean, that's like saying I'm retired. I mean, I play sports right up until adult too, Carl, above what level? No, let's not throw out these things.
He clearly does not know what he's talking about.
Of course. But saying that, I think Jackie teaches tennis at this point, and I think I want to just share, if you don't mind me, that you also do you teach?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something that I have to do as well. I have clients that I ride for mainly. I also have clients that need me to train them. I have clients that need me to work with just the young horses and things like that. So I have kind of made my career right now as being a jack of all trades. I'm not competing at the top level at this present moment because I don't have a horse. It's just the situation that I'm in right now. We are dealing with the pandemic, so we're kind of up in the air as to where horse shows are going to take place in Wellington. They are scheduled to go on, but at the moment, we're just trying to figure out how to move because there's horse shows all the time. But again, it's very expensive.
Indeed. And just all things clear, folks. So Ki-Juan is in Wellington, Florida. And Wellington, Florida, I am in Boynton Beach. So we're about 10 to 15 minutes apart. Obviously, because of COVID, we didn't get out to support anything this year, but we have previously been to a couple of shows and different events out there. It's amazing. I never thought I would find being around that stuff fun.
You have to see it, right? Wouldn't you agree with that? You have to see it to understand it. And then when you see it, it's such an eye opener. I remember my grandfather, when he came out here for the first time, he, maybe I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and he sat there, and as we all know, Black men in Bermuda, especially the old timers, they're tough, they're hard. But this man sat there and he looked at me and he like shed a tear. And he was like, I can't believe this is what you wanted to do. I had no idea this is what you were doing. And for me, I was like, this is what I've been trying to tell you forever. So, you have to see it, have to understand it. It's a beautiful sport. It's something that a lot of people still have no idea that takes place. I can't tell you how many times when I say I'm an equestrian, they say, well, one, what is that? And they, kind of refer to, oh, you're a jockey, you race horses. No, I don't race horses. I'm actually too heavy to race a horse, but I'm like, I show jump.
Nice. So real quickly, again, I can't wait to have Carla and Jackie and Shari and others out so they can actually see it, because like you said, it's something different. It's very, I remember being around you, and hopefully I'm allowed to say this, and just finding out who certain people in the area are, like,
yeah,
it's amazing. It's just you would be surprised who you're in the company of. But also, I wanted to touch on, we spoke about Bermudians, and I want to go to this comment right here where Troy Glasgow says the pool of world-class talent is too small and Bermuda need to leave to be exposed to a high level of competition. On the back of this comment, I remember being with you in Wellington, and almost not one person was an American-born person. Like, there were people, like, the equestrians were from so many different places, and they're all meeting up in this place called Wellington, Florida. What has that done for your career as far as like being able to embrace so many different cultures through what you're doing?
I mean, for me, it's opened up so many doors. It's like a melting pot, because Wellington, Florida, like the horse show here takes place between January and March. Everywhere else around the world is completely, frozen. So all the Europeans come here, all the South Americans come up here, all the people from Canada come down here, and it's all the best of the best. So everybody has connections, and everyone's trying to either buy, sell horses, and network through the industry, but also it's tapped into my music career because I'm not just the quote unquote black guy that rides horses. I'm also the black guy who rides horses, who sings their national anthem, and let's get him to do more events. So, it's opened up everything. I can't, to be honest, I go to this horse show and everybody knows who you are because it's so diverse. And it's just a great way to network. It's almost like, I had to compare it to this. It's almost like being at Cup Match to the point where when it's everybody from everywhere comes in one spot for 3 months.
Indeed, it's again. We've got to get a Bermudian contingent out here to support you once everything things
quietens down a little bit.
Yeah. I don't want to say
Is it
get back
seasonal?
to normal.
Pardon?
Is it seasonal? Like, is there a peak time to come out there?
Yes. So the Wellington Equestrian Festival, we call it WEF, takes place from January through March, but they do have, and most people come down. When I say most people, I mean the competitors and the clients. They travel down early as November, and then they leave around April or May. So within those 6 months, that's when it becomes, more the hype.
Well, Ki-Juan, I definitely will be coming, but here's the thing, on one condition.
What's that?
We have to get a step ladder and we have to get Jamal on the horse.
Oh, that's easy. Oh, that's easy.
You know how they do like pony rides at the first? We need to get him on a horsey ride and
Fix your face, man.
Wow. That's what kind of day it is. All right, Carla. Ki-Juan, it's been a pleasure having you. I'm not gonna share Carla back because I've matured over the weekend. But before you go, I just want to know if you just released a song called "No Pressure," right?
Correct. Yes.
All right. Obviously, we don't have the rights to play it right now, so I was wondering if you can give us a little bar or something. A little something, and where people can find this latest song of yours.
I got you. So my newest single, No Pressure, is available on all music platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Pandora, YouTube, everywhere. And you can check it out at any time, obviously. Let's see, give you a little bar. If you got problems, I'll make that my problem. And if you got issues, girl, I'll help you solve them. How about that?
we love it. We
love it. Vibe to that?
Yeah, man. Thank you.
So pretty.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So, folks, don't forget, you can go purchase his music. You can support him. Find him on social. What's your handles on social media?
So on Instagram, it's at KI2 the one, Kai to the one. And on Facebook, it's just Ki-Juan Miners.
Okay. I have one last question that came in. I definitely cannot answer this.
Okay.
He said he doesn't have a horse. Is it like NASCAR where someone else may own the horse and you're a rider?
Boom. Now we're talking. Absolutely. So that's the idea. And with this whole melting pot, that's the idea, to try to get sponsorship. And what makes it great for myself is because I'm such, I'm kind of one of a kind. So there are wealthy people out here that want to kind of support the underdog. So yes, there have been opportunities where people approach me and say, hey, I have a horse, would you like to develop it, and things like that. So that happens a lot. And that's, again, why I ride for certain clients.
Alrighty. One of the Bermuda's most talented Ki-Juan Miners. Thanks again for joining us today. And we look forward to having you back. New music when your season starts, see how you're going. And eventually when Bermudians put their pennies together and buy you your own horse.
Hey, I like the sound of that.
Thanks, have a good one.
Thank you guys very much. Have a good day.
You
No
too.
problem.
You too.
Yeah, horses used to scare me, boy.
I don't like them to this stage of Mouse, though.
They were huge. And I'm just like, Kai and I are pretty much the same height. And I'm just like, man, you were never scared. And he's been around him since he was so young that he's just used to them. But awesome guy. One of the things, I used to say this when I was working at Hot 107.5. I had dual majored in college. So I did business and video and radio production. And I was doing all of that. That's what he reminds me of. And I don't believe Ki-Juan went to college on a scholarship doing this or anything. But his literally living his dreams out by singing and jumping horses. And so Bermudians, get in touch with people like this, connect with people like this. He's on social media, various social media outlets. These are the connections, the relationships we need to make and have.
You know what I really loved about what he said is how he's diversified his talent. So he was saying the different things that he does. I love that. And people need to stop thinking that just because they do one thing, that it's the only lane they can stay in. So I
Mhm.
love that he's using his talents in all those different ways from
Indeed.
the horse side of it.
Indeed, and I think where he's not just performing, but he's teaching and so on. Like saying he's a jack of all of these trades. So one of Bermuda's most talented, seriously, and he in my opinion, is breaking barriers per se, breaking barriers in these respects. But I think you guys would enjoy going to the horse events. Growing up, the only thing I would see is I remember the pony races down what's it called, Beasley Street, and then also down at what's it called, the botanical gardens. They had horse shows throughout the year. So I've always seen horses. And Carla, please, you are not representative of our neighborhood to not know Black people who had horses.
I did. I know one horse was in the neighborhood, but I can't remember who owned it. I do remember one horse. Oh, my cousin, Butcher. Butcher had a horse. That's right. But I meant young people in no, but he's older. But I meant young people in our age group. Like it was Patrick Nisbet, who was a few years older than me. But I just mean generally speaking, how often do you hear about your peers having a horse?
Yeah. Again, I can watch horses from afar, and I'm not as scared as I was. I'm just like, these are some big animals.
I don't like them, Jamal.
They're here. I commend people. Let's do a daily play real quickly, folks. They need your help. I already gave one hint. Very easy one today. Art is the ability to tell the truth, especially about oneself.
Tupac.
I said
Bernie Mac, a comedian.
Oh, comedian is that rapper.
Steve Harvey. Bernie Mac.
Tiffany Haddish. Monique.
This comedian is known as the greatest of all time.
Oh, Richard Pryor.
There you go. Yes, Richard Pryor.
I love how confidently she said it. She's like,
the greatest of all time. It's usually Richard Pryor, Dave Chappelle, as someone said, or sometimes Eddie Murphy and Bernie Mac may squeeze in there. But Richard Pryor,
I like me some. Well, yeah, Richard Pryor is definitely best, and then I like me some Bernie Mac.
He took some risk. I like risky people. That's Cousin Poker. Always there you go. Cousin Poker had the horses. Look, good show. Honestly, thank you to Ki-Juan. I support him a lot. As much as we can. I know that he does a lot of work with my wife as far as her weddings and stuff. So he's doing a lot of things, some things that are not public yet. But I'm sure if you follow him, you'll be very proud of what he's doing. And don't be let's not be mistaken. What he's doing is putting Bermuda on the map. And when I speak about the circles that he's in, and when I mentioned, when we're in Wellington and around him, the people, the networks that his around, that's what Bermuda believes that they're attracting or should have. I think it would do Bermuda well as a country to work with Ki-Juan. Honestly, I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him, and I just hope that more Bermudians will look to him as an example of how to make it, how to turn that passion into a career. Because even he stated, many family didn't even see this, like his grandfather's story. That's huge, and his grandfather's the one that got him around the horses. The funding thing, that was very telling. I know so many people, especially athletes, who just never got the funding to fulfill their potential.
It's hard to get funding, especially in a sport that's considered an elite sport, because if you're able to play, like for me, for tennis, I never got sponsorship or anything, no assistance, unless I was representing Bermuda, because that a company with other sponsors or something like that. But to get funds, you're playing an elite sport. You must be rich. You can handle what you need my money for. And that's what we always got. So I really hope he gets
I'll
it.
just say this. Bermuda focuses on, let's be honest, when it comes from a tourism perspective, Bermuda focuses on the 1%. If you had go to Bermuda on the back of this guy's shirt in the places that he's in, the people he's mingling with, he'll probably do a lot more for you than some big ad on a bus stop or a cab in New York City. That's why,
Absolutely.
in terms of like working with this brother, we have to. But I your point is well taken, Jackie, as far as funding, because obviously you can speak to that better than I. But how do we overcome that? You know.
Quick story: when I
Change the
played on the
mindset.
national squad for softball, we had to travel with 20-year-old jerseys, like they were really old with holes in them, because for funding for sports, particularly goes to cricket and football, and of course athletics get some, but other sports, some sports get nothing, and that's always been a disparity problem in Bermuda.
Interesting. Folks, don't forget tomorrow, hot conversation. We've had so many people, especially since COVID, who have had a lot of opinions, and we mean a lot, about 5G. We will have the chief executive from the Bermuda Regulatory Authority on to speak about the upcoming 5G consultation. So, anyone who's been flooding your timeline about 5G, this is the conversation that they want to be a part of tomorrow's show. Denton Williams, the chief executive of the Regulatory Authority, will be on this show to discuss the upcoming consultation about 5G. So anyone who has an opinion about 5G, tell them to get in this conversation. This is going to determine, it could determine how Bermuda proceeds with 5G. All right. Carla, you got anything you want to send us off with?
Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. George Bernard Shaw.
Creating yourself. Jackie, any final word? Welcome back again, Jackie.
Thank you.
Any final words you want to give us?
Just going based off of today's show is find out something that you're passionate about and turn it into money. You'll never work a day in your life. I mean, I do what I love, and it's hard to say that I'm going to work. I'm like, I'm going to the courts, and people are just like, court? What you getting court for? No, the tennis courts.
Going court for. Yeah, that sounds about Jackie.
Hey.
I know. I would have said Carla. What you got for us, Carla?
It's always picking on me. Just have a beautiful week, guys, and make the best of every opportunity.
Yeah, she said beautiful week. I did forget that there's a holiday on Wednesday, so we're going to take that holiday as well.
I forgot.
Remembrance Day, some parts of the world, Veterans Day, and others. So there will be no show on Wednesday. We'll be back on Thursday. So tomorrow, Regulatory Authority. Then we'll take a quick break, let you all sleep in a bit, and then come back and give it to you again on the following day, which is Thursday. That said, thanks again to Ki-Juan Miners for coming and having a conversation. And we appreciate you all. We love you all. And we thank you all for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in to The Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House. All recorded episodes and highlights can be found at thedailyhour.com. Stay connected with us by following us at The Daily Hour on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.